When your ship can travel through time, as well as space, where are you going to go? If you're like me, you might be tempted to go back in time and prevent some terrible disaster, or perhaps to hang out with some dinosaurs. But one thing that's even more fascinating than our own past is our future. So today, we're going to take a trip into the far future to see what's in store for the universe. Strap in, because this is going to be one heck of a ride. Our first stop on this grand tour of the universe will take us just over 4 billion years into the future. At that point, our sun will run out of hydrogen fuel and expand into a red giant, engulfing the inner planets, including Earth. So we'll have to leave it behind. Fortunately, our solar system has a few more tickets punched on the Starship Enterprise. Just beyond Neptune's orbit lies Pluto, which, at around 3 billion miles away, should be safe from the sun's scorching embrace. Unfortunately, it's also about 40 times as far away from the sun as Earth is, meaning that Pluto won't receive enough sunlight to support life as we know it. Not to mention, Pluto's lack of an atmosphere means that any large impacts by asteroids or comets would spell certain doom for our solar system's last outpost. So we'll have to keep moving. Fortunately, there's a free shuttle service between Pluto and the next stop on our tour, the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is a theoretical but likely spherical shell of icy space rocks surrounding our solar system. It's thought that the Oort cloud extends as far as 100,000 astronomical units from the center of our solar system. For reference, 1 astronomical unit, is the average distance between the Earth and the Sun, roughly 150 million kilometers. That means that the outermost edge of the Oort cloud is about 15 trillion kilometers from the Sun. To put that in perspective, if the Sun were the size of a soccer ball, the Oort cloud would extend nearly 1/6 of the way to the Moon. While there's no solid evidence that the Oort cloud actually exists, it is the most likely explanation for the strange clustering of orbits seen among long-period comets. And even if it doesn't exist in its full form, there's still bound to be a large number of icy bodies peppered throughout this region of space. These bodies should still provide us with enough resources to sustain life, while the Sun does its worst. Unfortunately, there are 2 major problems with basing our survival on the Oort cloud. First, it's going to take us thousands of years to get there. Second, we have no idea what's out there. Our current understanding of physics tells us that there shouldn't be anything else in our way. But it is possible that there could be undiscovered particles or fields that could wreak havoc on our ships. To make matters worse, even if we do successfully navigate these treacherous waters, the Oort cloud is only a temporary solution. Eventually, the Sun will become a white dwarf, casting off the last of its light and heat and leaving our little corner of the universe completely dark and frozen. So let's hop back in our time machine and head another 200 billion years into the future. At this point, all of the stars in the night sky will have gone out, leaving us in total darkness. Even worse, the radiation from the dead Sun will begin to slowly break down our molecular bonds, causing our bodies to fall apart at the atomic level. In other words, we'll be dead. Well, so much for the future of humanity. Turns out that being stuck in the middle of deep space is a pretty crappy way to go. But if we're willing to travel a little further, we'll find that there's plenty to marvel at. Around 1 trillion kilometers away, a new star will begin to form out of the debris left over from the Big Bang. We'll have to get pretty creative to sustain ourselves until then. Luckily, scientists think that there may be plenty of resources out here to help us do just that. Stars tend to form in clusters, and the area around our Sun is likely to be no different. Most of these stars will be red dwarfs, which are small, cool stars that emit very little light. But they will be incredibly useful for us as they have a very long lifespan, meaning that their light will be one of the last things we see before the heat death of the universe. Unfortunately, they are also terrible for space travel, as their weak gravity means that they woe and pull wayward asteroids out of their path. In fact, they are so weak that even something as small as a pebble could send a spaceship hurtling through space at high speed. Not exactly ideal. If we're lucky, we could find a rogue planet with an atmosphere and oceans intact. There may also be enough radiation around these stars to harness fusion power. That would give us an almost limitless supply of energy as long as we don't mind the intense heat. But eventually, even that will run out and we'll be forced to move once again. In another 10 duodecillion years, the universe will reach maximum entropy and every last bit of usable energy will have been exhausted. Black holes will evaporate due to Hawking radiation, and the universe itself will be a cold, dark void of empty space. This is often referred to as heat death, and it's widely believed to be the ultimate fate of our universe. But there is one place that we can still go. In another 10 to the power of 12, 96 years, the universe will literally end and we'll have nowhere else to go. Sorry folks, but that's the end of the line. However, not everyone agrees that this is the end of the story. Some physicists believe that our universe is actually just a small part of a much larger multiverse. If that's true, then it is theoretically possible that we could travel to other universes, where the laws of physics are slightly different, and perhaps even find a hospitable world to call home. Of course, there's absolutely no evidence that the multiverse actually exists. But if it did, then there is a good chance that we could find a universe that is even more advanced than our own. Imagine the possibilities if we could meet a civilization that had managed to harness the power of dark matter or discover the secret to faster-than-light travel. It's possible that we could learn how to save our own universe or even create new ones. Of course, it's also possible that we find nothing but hostile aliens who want to use us as slaves, or worse. But hey, it's always worth a shot. After all, when the heat death of the universe is looming on the horizon, you gotta take whatever chances you can, right? At the end of the day, though, it doesn't really matter whether or not the multiverse exists. Because whether we find another universe or not, we're still doomed. The only real question is, how bad do we want to die? If you're anything like me, then the answer is not very. And that's why I'm excited to start working on my new channel, which will explore all the ways that humanity might just end. From supervolcanoes to nuclear war to climate change, I'll cover all the possible ways that our species might meet its end. So if you want to see what the future holds, make sure to subscribe to my new channel today.